Yeah. Oh, here we're streaming. We're streaming all over the place. Oh, we're we're getting our streams. We're crossing our streams. We're getting our streams all over the peeps. Yeah. 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 I need to check audio. Check audio. That's the next thing. Forgot for a second. I check audio. Gotta 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 check audio. Check audio. Gotta 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 announce to everyone. We stream. We be streaming. We be streaming. We be streaming. Yes. We be streaming. We be drinking water. We'll probably get some more water later because you gotta need hydration. You need hydration. And what are we doing this time? Well, we're replacing some clips. Replacing some clips. That's right. And this source of clips, not quite the source I'd generally be expecting, but I needed that there source of clips. And I know where it's gonna go. And I know how it's gonna be. And I know how all of this has to wind up. Day 14 of asking for Jameson edit. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm the oldest person in your DMs? What are you, some kind of weirdo? I'm only 26. I can't be the oldest person in your DM. I am not. Give me 3 more years. No, give me 3 more years, and I'm an unk. Okay, I refuse to be an unk until that occurs. You understand? It doesn't count. Not real. You are fake. You are imaginary. I am the main character. This is my arc where I imagine you in my chat. You understand? Yes. Why did I open my phone? I remember now. What? The oldest person I know. The ages of. Okay. All right. Unk. Oh, you. Ooh. Fine. Fine. Fair enough. I'm investigating. Is this day 14 of asking for the Jameson edit? On the 15th stream. Were you there on the 15th stream? The 15th stream was day 9 of asking for the Jameson edit. And there's only been 2 streams since, which means you are actually on day 11. You fucking doodad, you. Ooh, day 11. That's right. You are wrong. You are wrong. You are wrong. You see? You understand? You are wrong. I don't know if that's in. Yes. Guess who's back? Back again. I appreciate that you're back. God, people gotta support each other's got support each other's efforts and stuff. You know, one of these days, I want to do a stream where we just kick back and appreciate lots of Halo fan films. Maybe in the context of like we're making a new edit and we're watching Halo fan films to find cool clips, but also we're just watching them for the first time, you know, and maybe we'll clip out some clips whilst we're at it, that sort of thing. And you know, maybe we'll do that with your film. I don't know. Maybe something like that. That'd be cool. I'd like to watch some user generated content and stuff. Gotta support. Yeah. I feel good about life today because I went out with a person and on a day out, and it was good. I like this person, and it was a fun time. Yes, that's all that shall be said about it. That's not. I'm doing it wrong. That's not. Mm, okay. Slightly hyper, which is weird because I haven't had any sugar today. That's the one thing I haven't had. I've had like fat and salt and carbs and protein and all that. Gotta work together. Yeah. Yeah. Unity. Yeah. Who doesn't like a bit of unity? Is that is that audio? Is that audio on the fridge? Why can't I hear that? That's weird. Is it because oh it's because it's ah, I understand. Alright. I understand. I don't understand. But you know what? It's fine because I only need these clips for the visuals anyway. Certain things I don't understand. Because I found decent quality clips of Halo Wars in the proper with the proper amount of frames. Yeah, just gotta check. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do for the moment. Curiously, is I it's got superior frame rate, and that's essentially what we need. It's definitely a problem. Frame rate superiority is what we need. uh, so yeah, I've got two guesses who you went out with, but not fit for stream, so I'll hold my tongue unless you force my hand. Uh, no, no, it doesn't matter. Whichever one I say, it's technically accurate. um, I can make a joke about both the potential people I'm talking about technically being. No, no, that's too. Nah, we won't mention that today. No, no, no. It's interpersonal stuff, curious interpersonal stuff about how my life has become very strange as of late, but in a good way. You wouldn't think it was as cool as it is to be in the situation I would be, but well, maybe you would. I don't know. I don't know. But I w- I went from like disastrous like interpersonal life to like a pretty cool one actually. And yeah, just clipping out the clips I need from this, and maybe we'll find higher quality crispy versions of this later, but not today. Hmm. Is that lower quality? I might have chosen to download the wrong thing. I'll just have to compare. I'll just have to compare. Ooh, good for you at least. Yeah, good for me. Yeah. Yeah. Good for me. Boy, I love having interpersonal positive dynamics in my life. It's a pretty cool feeling. Hmm. Hmm. Did I do it wrong? I just realized something. Why is... How come? What's so strange? Why is... Why is the image in, like, the wrong place? That's just strange. It's very strange. I see. Wait, that would explain part of it. But still, it's very strange. You unk. Freudian slip there. Fair. Fair. You know, we're all prone to some Freudian slips there. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, damn. It's meant as how it's meant to be. It's kind of funny. Program is having a problem for a moment. Hmm. Oh dear. That's... It appears to be crashing. Well, you just open it again. Oof, just crashes for no reason. I put a clip on top of another clip, and that's enough. Not allowed to be doing that. That's just not the done thing. Oh no. Why is my computer telling me I need to update when I just updated? What's up? That's just strange. Wants me to update twice? That's just an odd thing. Yo, how's that beautiful flood meme guy going? E9 Studios. who is 3 times better than E3. That's E3 times 3. E3, you might as well be E3 squared. Yeah, that's how cool your name is. Excuse me. By comparison. Studios. Industries, yes, yes. Sorry, so I just got them confused in my head. For like Halo has taught me that studio and industries indistinguishable. 343 Industries, Halo Studios. What's the difference? They're the same. Since they are the same, that clearly means that these words mean the same thing. Okay, regrettably, my replacement clips do not actually have actually lower fidelity. So okay, we're searching for. I'm returning to my search for better clips, and we're just gonna be downloading those in the background. Wowee! Um, Halo, Halo, Wars 2, Awakening, The Nightmare, cutscenes, 4K. All right, how crispy do Gamers Little Playgrounds cutscenes look? How how good are they? How good are they? How good are they? Going on a little adventure, just a short one.
Hundreds of possibilities.
4K. I don't actually need 4K. I just need I need the video should natively be in 4K so that when I download it in 1080 it'll be good. You know? It'll be good because this plugin I can't actually do it for 4K. That would cost money. And I'm on a budget. I can't be spending money too willy-nilly. I got fucking audiobook CDs back there that cost me a total of £110 because which I eventually will use and re-listen and stuff because they're just not available in the UK on digital for no good reason. Studios Borgate is quite fine. Living large, nice. A newly DM'd meme goes hard. Newly DM'd meme goes hard. Oh, not as hard as that. Why was I? Why did I begin to say that? what? What the fuck is that image? what? What do you? Why? Why am I represented by a deflated looking sea lion and I don't. I, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Big detective. You're such a fucking detective. You're such a smart cookie. Amazingly smart. Oh look, it's the most demanding game on PC right now. Yo. You have no idea how many polygons these Lego characters got, man.
Let's get to work.
I give you all that money every month and you waste it on CDs. It's not even a waste. It's literally an investment. It's literally an investment. It's literally an investment, you swine, you.
Do not disobey your orders again. Scout the shell, salvage the ships. That is it. Full turned on. Reconnaissance mission. And I'll make sure they don't report.
Oh, that looks crispy actually. Oh, you know what? Gamers Little Playground is coming through. I should have just downloaded this in the first place. Yeah, we just downloaded. We just downloaded. Oh yeah. It's more than my 4K ODSC mod. What's insane? Oh yeah, the Batman alone. The Batman alone. It is to play on the video game requires has more polygons than the model that you are using to make an actual little movie. You know, the thing that like the fidelity is very important. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, I figured this laptop would be like cool enough to play Lego Batman 4 because I like the Lego games. But no, I don't. I'm not sure they will. I'm not sure it will. Well, whilst we're waiting for that to download, I think there's other clips we can replace. Other clips we can replace. Yes. Where were they? Which ones would they be? They'd be. You know, I'm not entirely certain about this clip here. It feels like it works, but at the same time, I'm like thinking, does it work? Just play it in context, sort of. Why isn't it playing? Oh, it's because I got it on mute. That's right. It's okay.
Forms that of raw, unformed potential.
We are the flood.
The creation.
We must create.
Many beings split apart,
There is no difference.
requiring recognition.
But the beings we create shall never again reach out in strength against us.
Like this one right here.
Beings we create shall never again reach out.
Like that one. This one. After all these.
Requiring recognition.
But the beings we create shall never again.
It feels at once appropriate because of what they're saying. Because these beings will never reach out in strength against us. Shows the Forerunner Flood War.
Create shall never again
A modern day like crime scene.
reach out in strength.
They both kind of work in that respect, but also, is there a better clip? What on earth? You didn't know? What do you mean you didn't know it had a DLC? It had a. It's Awakening the Nightmare. It's the one with the flood. It's the one with the flood, my good sir. Where's a clip of it? This is what it's from. This flood clip. It's not a fan film. It's the one where the banished fight the flood. They're so cool they can fight the flood. I mean, look at this.
Last precursors. And now we are legion.
I mean, it'd be that. I think the blur animation is slightly beyond even the best of fan films. It's the cool one. It is the cool one. Yeah, it's got a it's like it's a couple banished stooges, banished bros trying to investigate the Ark, not the Ark, High Charity after after it like landed, and somehow some floods survived on it, even though the firing of the halos, but I forget exactly why. And the whole DLC is about fighting them back. And Atriox tells them to go investigate the place, but not to provoke the flood. They go there, they provoke the flood. Atriox arrives after they fix their mess, and he's a big man. The end. That is the whole DLC. Which which one of these is the one that which one of these is the one that okay, this is the one with that stuff. This is the one Get it. What it How do I can't make it bigger. These titles are too long. I think it's this one. I can't tell which one is the one that's meant to be high definition and which one's the one that's intended to be okay, well, it's got music in it, so actually that just tells me everything. Which ones intend to be the one that I have just for the audio, the clean audio. Damn, it's such a fucking stark contrast between Anniversary 1 and Anniversary 2. If only one of them hadn't been so rushed. I am using a lot of fan films, to be fair. I can point out where each one is kind of in a minute. There we go, there's the thing. Need a nice high quality, higher fidelity. We love fidelity. Oh boy, it's one of my favorite things in life. Fidelity. It finds kind of very close to the word fealty. In a way that's like a fidelity of purpose.
Until all
Wait, no, it's at the beginning.
Nobody move.
They're afraid.
our urge to create is immutable. Henceforth.
There we go. Why is this one slightly ahead of this one? No, that's why. Because it is. Is that a slight? Is that a very thin? Is that a very thin white black bar? That's a little strange. That's not meant to be there. What's up with that? That's just a bit strange. Never look at any image too closely, it just turns into a pixely mess. Oh, now I'm gotta struggle to recenter it. I don't even know if that's better, but it's probably got a better frame rate. That's generally why I'm changing it. Yeah. For this like section right here, it's like this is a fan film.
They're afraid.
Not a fan film, 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 is a fan film, is a fan film, is a fan film, not a fan film, not a fan film, not a fan film, not a fan film, is a fan film, is not a fan film, not a fan film, is a fan film, not a fan film, not a fan film, not a fan film, is not a fan film, is a fan film, is not a fan film, is a fan film,
and life is crushed in
is a fan film, is a fan film. No, yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 yes, no, no, yes. So lots of fan film, but not most of it. It's not quite most of it. Yeah. It's so funny how in that cutscene they're holding their hands behind their backs like it's cuffed, but there aren't actually any cuffs. And it's seen later that there are in fact no cuffs. Like you can't see it. You reckon there probably would be cuffs, but there just aren't. They're just not there. I went looking for them for like an unrelated reason. Like, if you look carefully, there are no cuffs there. She's not wearing any. She's just being made to hold her hands behind her back, and that's it. They didn't secure her. Thought I was thinking, damn, this is the most important moment of my life. I hope some guy with like a whole new perspective on things doesn't come round to fuck up my shit. Damn, that'd be so inconvenient. I killed my uncle to gain this position, man. I was so committed.
Our urge to create is immutable.
Its form is that of raw, unformed potential.
We are. We are the
Yeah, I'm reasonably convinced that the fidelity here is just better.
We are the flood.
Very least.
We are the flood.
There's probably wonderfully consistent frame rate stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is another shot that could maybe use a replace.
On which they feast.
Cortana, what exactly am I looking at?
Yeah, there we go. I've returned. New meme just trying to meet my quota. Dang, he got a quota now. He got a quota. Can I show this one on stream? Is this meme too? What? What the? What the fuck? What? What do you? What even are you? What even? What does this mean? What does this mean? I don't understand. What is this? What does this mean? I don't. Was that a thing I just said? I'm sending this to her. I'm sending this to her. She needs to see. You know who. Guy. Main. Ah, you're a strange lad. Very strange lad. Very strange lad. No. You in trouble? I'm not in trouble. He's in trouble. I just want to understand. I seek understanding in all things. I'm a very understanding fellow. Very rational. Very committed to understanding. You understand? Understand.
Who am I looking at?
That is another Halo.
gonna have to make this adjustment to all of them. Wasn't really a problem when I was using cropping stuff before. You in trouble. Explained in next DM. It's a gay joke because edgy not going to heaven. Okay, fine. Fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Yeah. Even exists. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe I don't that's not I don't I'm not particularly threatened by that. Cause I don't got no particular, you know, thing that it's out there. So I shouldn't feel threatened by that. No. No, I shouldn't. No, 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 no. Um I've got the boring view that you die and you're dead. You're gone. That's just that's it. That's all she wrote. So you know what? Yeah, that's it. How do you feel about me not going to heaven, or a bunch of people in your life who you think, yeah, you're right, but also you're not going to heaven, and by extension, do you expect that they're going to go to hell? And how do you feel about that? I imagine people of the faith would have feelings about that. Like, damn, I wish this friend here was going to heaven, because fundamentally they kind of they get it on like a morals basis. They kind of behave in a way that is acceptable, in line with, you know, kind of a pious kind of morality, but they didn't get it from a pious source.
The Forerunners.
on which they feast.
Cortana.
Oh, hey. Boo. Back on nerd account. No clue why I reloaded tab. Oh well, according to the Bible, people can't go to heaven. So there's that. I've read half of it. I've read half the Bible. I can't. A lot of it didn't stay in there in terms of though I was trying to like absorb some knowledge and stuff. So could you explain that? Could you explain that? That seems to be at odds with the Could the two of you could the two of you explain this to me? Is there a difference in denomination here in perspective going on in this moment?
Forerunners.
On which they feast. On which they feast.
Cortana, what exactly am I looking at? Halo.
Yeah, that seems appropriate.
Halo. What the hell?
What if I what if I sharpen this image? I just want to see what a sharpening effect would do on this, because it's the full on image. It might respond well to it rather than like the zoomed in ones that didn't really suit. So what if fine detail went up a bit? We kind of extend large detail. Okay, so
Halo. What the? No, really? Halo.
that's the
Halo. What?
has the issue that the planet becomes distinctly pixely. But the planet was sort of already that way, but the smudginess, to a degree, covers it up.
I'm looking at.
Funny how that works.
Halo. What the hell?
Look at it. Something scrambled the inside.
Funny how it's all pixels when you get down to it. Oh boy. Well, basically, Bible says only a few people will. Almost nobody, though. And certainly not me or most people of faith nowadays. Oddly, they changed it in the King James translation to say anyone could. So it's a British conspiracy. It's a British conspiracy. So, do you think you're going to hell, or do you think you're going somewhere else, or do you is the purgatory the thing? Is there a semi decent sort of middle ground between being totally cut off from God's light and being in heaven, paradise forever? Is there something that's like, okay, this isn't so bad, I can subsist like this? Uh, hmm. A British conspiracy. British conspiracy. Well, Britain's becoming gradually less 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 Christian as it goes on. Though though I'd argue some of the Christian framework in terms of it being, like a societal structure and a societally binding structure that is based in part on a sense of guilt, for like, at least in the Catholic sense, for like original sin and whatnot, which exists in some degree in like a broader Christian sense in like British culture. That when after the actual thing itself stopped being as prevalent, there was there's sort of an implicit issue where like in the modern mythology post World War II, you could argue that in the neoliberal sort of progressive, partly neoliberal progressive, this that lens, a progressive view in the world, like end of history kind of theory. Um, the Nazis are the ultimate evil. Hitler is in effect the devil. Reflecting anything that is like the devil is, bad, so you shouldn't do it, which leads to a whole bunch of policy decisions about this and that, blah blah blah, a culture war. Um, but within this like worldview, there is in effect a devil figure, but there is no sufficient like Jesus figure to give like the positive example, like, or God figure to give like a positive example in the other way, other than like the core ideological framework itself. So it's a system of like thought that constantly punishes itself for existing, but doesn't provide like a stopper for that, or a sort of a can, like a putting a thing on the can of it saying that's enough, it's okay, stop. We have the mechanism for redemption, for salvation. So there's like a toxic like prevalence of certain of like a way of thinking that was once this way around. This way of looking at the world is now used in another way of looking at the world, and so does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does my pop theory notion make sense? Oh well, according to the Bible, hell doesn't exist. I thought something like that. I thought I could have sworn stuff that was also made up in the King James. Goodness me. But it also says good people get resurrected in a somewhat near future. Ooh. Especially sometime after 1914, and predicts, well, so to live forever in paradise. So they'll be nice for me. Well, okay, you know what? In the end, it sounds like you're still going to heaven. But I'm not, because I am detached from God's light, because I don't think he's there. So that's how I understand the framework of it. Do I have a replacement for the Forerunner scenes? Did I get one? Did I get a half decent replacement for these? Because the frame rate drops in this one a little bit. Yeah, you can notice the frame drop. All right. Oh, look. New clips downloaded, though. That's cool. Just gotta move things around and stuff. That's in the Hebrew scripture, which, if you read half in order, that'll be what you saw. Fair enough. I read it the one time, and I did look up stuff like about it to explain further references and whatnot that I wouldn't necessarily understand because of like the historical context. But I sort of absorbed the broad strokes of it. Like I know that I forget the one after yeah the one after Moses leaves his people out of Egypt after Exodus, which I think is that Leviticus? No, that is the one with like a bunch of rules, with a great many of the rules that are cited, like this and that today. Um, I remember virtually nothing about the Book of Ruth. That's something I do remember because it didn't make much of an impression on me. I guess it's the difference between studying a thing because you think it's like it's going to contribute to a core aspect of your way of you're looking at the world versus sort of like, ooh, I just kind of want to get a bit of context, bit of context because I live in a Christendom kind of country. So I should know I should have a perspective a little bit. And it was, did tell me some things that did stick. Some understandings of certain things. Oh wait. That's in the Hebrew Bible scripture. Gonna head out. Fair, fair, there. And it specifically said that you shouldn't follow the rules established in the books written by Moses. British sinners be British. Good luck on the editing. Thank you for scaring you, E9. Yes, yes, you're a scary Christian. You're such a scary Christian, E9. You're, I mean, what? No, I'm tired. I don't know my words. No, no, I'm a Christian. They're all Christians. They're all Christians but me. Oh goodness. I've got I'm surrounded. I'm routed. Oh goodness. Um if anything I was raised Buddhist, but I didn't really absorb that terribly well either because it wasn't like pushed super hard on me. I went to Buddha camp every year though for a few years. Buddha camp is fucking boring. Oh god. It was so dull and I found it difficult to make friends. So I was just so bored all the time. Um, Especially because I don't know, all the community stuff was really for the adults. So I'm just left roaming around the place. That isn't what I wanted. Give me a place to vent. Being surrounded by those unholy Americans has been awful. Unholy Americans? Isn't America like a more Christian country than like the UK? What is with this frame? What is this? This is awful. I would expected they were more pious than we Brits. Then again, Brits aren't like outwardly massively pious. The Brits are just quiet about like virtually all their little bits of pride. Can't say you're proud of being British too loud. Otherwise, that could be taken the wrong way. We live in that's the kind of climate right now. Though it is starting to turn. because it's a bit silly to have for the idea to be proud of being your nationality in like a historical um, kind of this is in my blood kind of way is a bit silly to fight against that. It's just not gonna pan out long term. People like to belong, and they don't like to have belonging taken away from them. Whoopsie. That's just a joke, but none of those Harvard students are faith. That's fucking Harvard. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Also, I didn't say it before, but wait, that's you. Wait, that's you. Wait, that's just your other channel. I'm so fucking confused. I thought that was someone else for a second. I was very confused. Yeah, I didn't quite understand what was happening. As a whole, fine. It's just Americans. Sorry. I'm being a bit of a silly boy today. I'm not taking things in. It's because I'm too yapped up on good social times. That's what we'll say. That's what we'll call it.
They're afraid.
Our urge to
Okay, it's a little brighter, but not too much brighter.
our urge to create is
Yeah, that definitely feels like it has more fidelity. Because this scene doesn't have subtitles, I don't need to worry about the fact that this download, has subtitles.
potential, 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 potential,
That works.
potential,
Good social times. So did you? I don't know what to think. No, no, nothing happened. There is a rule. Because of the ongoing proceedings, that is a thing you understand, but a random viewer will not. That we will not actually. Nothing will happen, and we will simply wait, like I don't know. We will simply wait until both things are settled and everything. And we are sure that this is not some rash decision made rebounding from a previous paradigm. I'm at the edge of using euphemisms describing this, like talking around it. Uh, I don't make too many of them. It might be considered slightly financially you know, unwise to spend. That's probably too much money on those audiobooks up there. But I am paying for a thing that I can't get otherwise. There's a rationale, and surely, and you would of course understand the acquisition of proper materials in order to create a thing that you want. Yeah, that looks more like it. Nice, nice smooth frame rate, nice crispy. She's not with the other person, but she's still with the other person in on like in like a legal sense. So um, nothing's gonna happen until A, things are settled, B, um, maybe not like waiting quite as long because that's apparently it's gonna take like 5 months. Like vague timeline is like give it like a couple more from this point, and to see that it's actually not just um, sort of a knee jerk reaction from her not being with that person anymore. And I don't know, yeah. Make sure it's a thing that is won't hurt us both in the long term, and will be everything we want it to be. At this point, I'm basically outright saying it. I always wonder on like a. We've made jokes about like you canceling me, but I always wonder, um, in a sense of like if I become notable enough that people would look through past things to find statements on my life. How would this statement become relevant? What could be done with it? Yeah, I gave up. I'm sort of with a person. I'm not exactly with that person yet because that person is going through big changes, and so we're waiting. And I'm fine for that because they will still be there once the change is over. And if we still feel like it then that'll be then. And I think right now it seems like we will. And that's good. That's good. It is a thing ready and waiting to happen when the time is right. greater fidelity, I can always put the shadows back in afterwards and have the best of both worlds. Hey, I don't need to be subtle about saying that I got maybe an unhealthy obsession with Dr. Halsey, but not so much that I wouldn't see that you know what she did is ultimately inexcusable outside of like like a world that bent over backwards to validate her perspective. Like in any regular scenario, she shouldn't have been right. But if I were like to suggest a story direction for probably a novel just set on her that really examines it, the way I would resolve that sort of tension of like she was proven right, like we can't like come up with a thing. We are all like the Halo setting exists, continues, humanity continues to exist because blah blah blah, and she was punished despite the fact that she was ironically punished for trying to make amends for this. She was punished at the point when she was trying to turn the moral mess of her life around, which is like the ultimate irony. Um, it wasn't any of the war crimes they got her on. And the people that like gave the okay for the war crimes and and allowed them to happen and helped the how happen and insisted and basically said that if she like turned back at any point, they'd get someone worse in to do them for them. They weren't. Unless like Cortana did it off screen between Halo 4 and Halo 5 and Infinite, which actually makes sense. She controlled Earth for a bit. She could have gone to Parangosky's like secret house and been like, Parangosky, we're gonna have a chat, you and me, because you're like really bad, and what am I getting to? The tension between the fact that Halsey is effectively right. The fiction is telling the audience that she was correct to have this perspective. But how do you resolve the fact that she was right? Well, I would opt for suggesting that the idea that what she was right, but wasn't the only answer to the question. There were other answers to the question had the UNSC been willing to do this or that or whatnot. And imagining some character whose job it is to pronounce her like judgment. What she would be guilty of is that despite being supremely intelligent and supremely this, her notion of how to fix this whole thing with the Spartan program and whatnot and its use, she and Oni would be charged in that sense with a lack of imagination more than a lack of scruples or whatever, because they were never really possessed of that. Halsey, like somewhat so, Oni certainly not. Like, um, their lack of imagination led to the most brutal version of this answer, or one of the most brutal. Though, of course, what they're doing is objectively less evil than like nuking like every disobedient colony, or entering a situation where they would potentially feel the need they'd have to. Like averting that is technically good, but you're still kidnapping kids and torturing them, brutalizing them more specifically into soldiers. Also, mommy kink go where mommy issues more like haha. Yeah. If I were to direct like if I were to suggest like what's a game story that could exist, I would really like a game story that could include Halsey without it being like the whole deal. I think would be a ship, like a ship. You know that mod for Halo Reach where you get to like play as the ships and fight each other? Make a whole game of that. Make a whole game of that set during the Human Covenant War. You play as Captain Keyes and or Miranda Keys. Pick one, or have it that there are multiple like sort of eras and of like multiple time frames, and these are the two characters we play as. And naturally, because these are the characters involved, I kind of prefer it if we're just gonna pick one to be Miranda Keys because it brings further into focus all the like the family drama stuff. You make the aspect of Halsey being her dad and Jacob being Halsey being her dad, Halsey being her mom, Jacob being her dad. You make that significant to the story. You make that sort of a notable aspect of the a bit of drama. Somehow tie it into a ongoing war narrative, whilst also not dancing on any toes of other canon bits. Because I think it's possible. Because I think there's enough room in like the 2-ish years that Miranda Keys is captain of the Forward Unto Dawn prior to 2552. Should have continued with the Orions, just perfected, and now you can have hundreds and hundreds of Orions instead of like 35 Spartans. You know what? That's another good angle. You could have just fixed the hormonal rages of the Orions. You could have just kept at it. Maybe Halsey ends up being in this alternate timeline. Maybe Halsey is the person that ends up perfecting it because super genius. Because in comparison, like in this alternate timeline where they've continued on it, it would be the difference between her looking at a long abandoned failed prototype versus one that has been like iterated constantly since then. You know, all of her research is ultimately what led to working out how to do effectively Orion stuff symbolically on adults. So it stands to reason that if she's standing on the research of a whole bunch of other people, she could get there sooner. Or maybe not even need the kids. That makes sense. Yeah. But if it's a narrative about Halsey and bringing her to account, that sort of narrative does like it serves more to excuse her than to like appropriately um punish her or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, there should be more clips to replace. Okay. I need you know what I need? I need clips of the Halo 4 terminals that are of not so much high quality, but more like I need their frame rate to be consistent. Halo 4 terminals 4K 60 FPS. Because the download I have currently has a weird issue where that just isn't the case. What about this one?
Our plans have been torn asunder.
More reason not to abandon our beliefs. The mantle is our guidepost in times such as these. We must not falter in following its teaching.
You've got the
Enemy must be sent
you've got the subtitles in the way, which aren't ideal.
rather than rail against us and take what they desire.
There are some visuals that could be included here, like if I'm looking correctly, the subtitles do not go above the line if there's a single line. So some of them are usable, some of them are not.
You have my support, librarian.
It does seem like these are at least in nice 60 FPS.
But even in death, we shall hold it still.
relentless enemy.
Yeah, that's exactly
Cruelly, without
the
wisdom.
clip I'm thinking of. The reason for the switching to kids seems so weird as well. Alliance were shut down due to multiple reasons, but one was just that the augmentations weren't that impressive, hence the switch to kids. Two, but when they cut Halsey budget twice from Halsey 2. Budget twice from 300 to what point are you getting at specifically? Um, like the weirdness of it, like the augmentations weren't good enough. They I guess it's like a question of not having faith in the project and like her proposed. Maybe the reason they cut it down so much is because the fucking Mjolnir power suits would have got like for 300 Spartans would have been like an entire fleet of 300 ships. You know, that could be a given reason why. Let's just is this good crispy high quality? Let's see. Okay, those are translation subtitles. That doesn't count. Why is it?
You're not angry at me.
I mean, the quality is good, but the subtitles are there, which is the problem. As an editor, I don't like subtitles that much. They are very much in my way. Okay, you know what? I think the way to do is to just download this, and we're just gonna zoom in a teeny bit. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna zoom in a teeny bit. Why why can't I download? Ah, fuck you. What? What is this interface? Why is this up here? What is going on? Why can't I fucking hate technology sometimes. Why can't I? What is this? What is this? Why can't I? Why does it look like this? I fucking hate it all. Can I only download one high quality video per day? Is that it? Why go away? Fucking good view downloading add-on my ass. I don't even know how these things work anymore. They shut down Alliance because kids were better for augmentation, but then the program that was going to use said kids had 2 rounds of budget cut. Like, make up your mind. You know what? If you were making a Andor, you've suggested like an Andor style show that leads into the like presumably like it leads into the Spartan program, and the discovery of the Covenant, um, and like the first encounter with the Covenant, in the same way that Andor leads into Rogue One, which leads into the original trilogy. Maybe like the politics of that is something you could explore, like the fucking bullshit bureaucracy of the UNSC and the competing interests and stuff. Um, Washed editor. Everything I do makes me a washed editor. I think you just think I'm washed. Yeah, I just think you think I'm washed. I don't think it matters what I do. I'll always be washed to you. Ugh. Well, I can, you know what? I can download things another day and work it out. Work it out. Since or I could, as a YouTube video downloader, high quality. Is it this one? No. Where's the one I use? 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 Is it you? No. I swear it used to be around here somewhere. Ugh. Because the one I actually downloaded, it fucking doesn't work. But yeah, an Andor style show that I would opt like the elements that should be present in it would be, you know, the UNSC, their fight against the rebellion, certain characters such as like, you know, Colonel Robert Watts and Hector Nieto, and probably like a young who's the fucking captain from Halo Wars. Probably him too, because he's canonically involved in those conflicts. Maybe a little bit of Sergeant Johnson. You know, like appropriately involve these characters in places where they make sense, but also because we want to see them. We like these characters. We want to see them, and also include the assembly. You know, that aspect of like the AI cabal that's like low key kind of shadow governing humanity and controlling how things happening. They would be an interesting aspect to bring in for like a story like Andor, and especially because they are in the context of Halo Reach, they are stated to be they accelerated the meeting with the Covenant, basically causing the Covenant to encounter humanity sooner. Um, and you could have you could have a bunch of things that sort of coalesce together to prompt the beginning of the Spartan 2 program, plus the discover plus the Covenant coming, and plus this plus that, in an overall story that is about rebellion and intrigue, and exploring like to what degree are the UNSC and the rebellion and whatnot bastards, because the Halo kind of goes in the direction of the the rebels are just as bad as their overlords, sort of thing, in the way that it deals with them. But that's probably because of the perspective it's all based from. Funny thing is that Oni has a similar moment to the ISB, where both organizations gained a lot of power during crisis. As during the Covenant War, all other military and civil agencies were absorbed into Oni. True, true. To my understanding, the only like person who could feasibly rein in Oni like hardcore is fucking Terrence Hood, because he's functionally in charge of the whole UNSC military, and as a result, he's the one guy who can stamp down like Margaret Parangosky's bullshit. But he doesn't really want to, because Margaret Parangosky gets shit done, even if it's horrifying. Which most do. That data broker gold mines can't tell you what I've been to find out on editors through into through pirated from YouTube downloaders. Yay. That makes me feel very good. Oh dear. Well, I've got this cool flood edit. Oh boy, it's so dramatic. It's so cool. Let's watch the ending of it again.
Endless rains shall be there. All are instruments and receivers of our vengeance. All creation will tailor to failure, and
We are the last precursors. And now we are legion.
how horrific must it have been for the warrior to find his body erupting into that dreadful form.
I could only understand some of what the voices were trying to say.
What would his last thoughts have been?
They
Haha, Halsey inclusion.
wanted to be free. They
I got her in there somewhere.
wanted to die.
And was he in there somewhere?
They could not decide which.
Oh wait a minute.
House did not
I just realized there's a watermark in the corner. There's a watermark in the corner. We can't have that. There we go.
Somewhere?
They could not decide which.
Yeah. All right. I think I wanna. I see Da Vinci on stream. Oh, I forgot to put it back. There we go. Guess you missed it. Guess you missed the cool ending. I'll just play it again.
How horrific must it have been for the warrior to find his body erupting into that dreadful form.
I could only understand some
Fuck
of what
off.
the voices were trying to say.
I ain't washed.
What would his last
I'm just new.
thoughts have been?
They wanted to be free.
Yeah.
They wanted to die.
I mean the fuck off
And was he
affectionately,
in
of course.
there somewhere?
They could not decide which.
Okay, so that's section 1 and 2 sort of donezo. Though I will be replacing more clips later when I get a less frustrating video editor, video downloader. Ooh, think I'll time to organize some clips over here. Take out a song and think about it. Yeah, yeah. Specifically, we're gonna be thinking about this song here. Spoke too soon, didn't get out yet. Music. This one, yes, yes. Why don't we? Actually, no. Why don't we spend a little time slowing it down a little bit? Why don't we go into the music editor and we give it some elasticity, elastic wave. General purpose sounds good. Oh boy. Hmm. Hmm. I really like this track. What do you say? My headcanon is that the nuking of Far Isle was due to a flood outbreak, as not only was it so unusual for the UNSC and the Parangoski's successor believed it was any propaganda until she looked into it. True. That's really interesting, actually. The idea that the that kind of ties into the Mona Lisa in a roundabout way, because like the fact that Oni immediately upon like seeing what the flood was, it immediately started on a thing, like there was something to start to study them, though, according out of the horse's mouth, Rebecca, the Oni AI, claims that the stuff that, the mad fucking Oni agent scientist guy did on the Mona Lisa prison ship was like too far from what they wanted. They like they did it immediately. If you could add more context to that, as I was like, this is not like a new discovery, this is a reframing, this is like a rediscovery of it. If if it had happened before, and on Far Isle there was a Forerunner facility which contained flood biomass in it, that would be a really cool way to have the element of, the Halo elements, those Halo sci-fi elements, pre the war. And of course, everyone on Far Isle, none of them's allowed to survive. Like, no one that encounters the flood in that place is allowed to survive the story. You got to keep it like, airtight in terms of like law and continuity. At least that would be the preference for it, because having people just out there with knowledge of this stuff and it never got out, that's a little bit messy. But that's kind of cool. Also, a type of prowler used in Oni was reverse engineered Forerunner engines, and Senator Alger was made like 10 years before the Human Covenant War. It took the to reverse engineer basic shields from a Jackal Gauntlet, so imagine how long it took. Fuck, that's kind of cool, actually. I didn't know I don't know anything about the ships. So like the ship lore is like beyond me, to be honest, beyond the fact that the honeycomb superstructure of the Pillar of Autumn is meant to make it like super duper durable. A baffler engine. Is that I'm presuming that's the thing that makes them go invisible, right? At least on that particular ship, because because that's genuinely they would have had to have known for a fucking while then. How early did they have Onyx? I forget. I presume it's from Onyx, right? Yeah, you could totally make a prequel, like a pre-Covenant Halo show that still includes Halo elements within in like that particular way. And the Andor equivalency is very appropriate in that regard because Andor is a show that, you know, is pre XYZ thing, but still includes elements and allusions to XYZ thing in a significant manner. If I I will make a video on this, and it explains why human self tech was better than self tech. You're right. You're right. That's like such a neat explanation, though. I feel that takes away some small thing from the humans, I guess, because like you would otherwise assume it was just just like their ingenuity. Actually, no. Either way, it works because it shows that the humans, when encountering Forerunner Trek, even though they kept it under wraps, they still learnt more from it and innovated more on it than the Covenant did in multiple thousands of years. So actually, even if the humans are getting the stealth tech from Forerunner stuff, that's still yeah. You know what? If you know what I want to I've got like writing ambitions. If you like decide you want to do it one day and you want some like writing soundboard, I'll be your fucking soundboard. Just DM me, man. I'll be your writing partner if you're like that sounds fucking cool. As just like, you know, we'll work out the ideas if you're okay with that. For reference, this piece of music will occur right after, you know, like this.
Which?
Like it'll be like here. Read DM. Not fit for stream. Boo, you sending DMs that aren't fit for stream. How mean of you. It's a video. I'm turning off the microphone. I fucking hate you. I I goodness me. Hey Gono, do you know that this man remembered me is a like trained detective and has connections to various bureaus and places and databases and knows where I live and know not know where he doesn't know where I live, knows where I work and knows the names of people where I work and knows this and that and whatnot. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, but it's not it's it's sort of there are mitigating circumstances, okay? There are mitigating circumstances. Yeah, he's an Oni agent. Except, and he's not an OG agent. The question is he an Oni agent written by any like writer other than Karen Travis, or is he an Oni agent written by Karen Travis? Because the OG agents written by Karen Travis get to be cool and self-aware and funny and like fundamentally decent, even though they're shitty people at heart at the same time. You know, they get to be the best and the worst of both worlds at the same time because that's how Karen Travis rolls. Bitten by any other. Yeah, you don't get to be Karen Travis's cool little pet evil do-gooders. I do hope she comes back to the franchise one day. I don't know if she writes. I think she still writes novels, but she's like still slowed down. I've got a good idea of what this looks like in my head. There's a strong melancholy, like, God, this is so awful kind of stuff with the song. There's this really fuck, you're right. That's like explicit subtext as far as that like stuff exists, you know? Runtime controls. Alright, we're gonna put you down to 90, see how that sounds. I like that. That amount of slowdown feels good. But what if we went a little bit further? Also, Oni was very quick to take control of Onyx and wipe it from the records, almost as if it wasn't their first time doing so. I wonder how she'd feel about, like, the guy who's currently in charge of Star Wars is also the guy who was functionally, who was, you know, the guy behind the show that overrid a lot of her cool lore. So there would definitely be something to get over in that respect. Mm. What if you put a slight reverb on that? That's not what I wanted. What if you put a slight reverb of that? Other than Margaret Parangosky, what other like Oni characters, like in the older ones, what characters would be aware that we have in the canon of like the Forerunner stuff prior to like most of the canon? Do we have named ones that would fit? Because it can't be really any of our main ones except Parangoski. Hmm. I think. Hmm. I think that's the sweet spot. So we'll just keep that there for a minute. This place where they found the Forerunner tech on Onyx is called Site. Also, is almost which is probably like 80 for Halo humans. I mean, she's got to have been in a fair amount of cryosleep, right? I don't think any names. But still working on my way through all the Halo books. Feels like more keep appearing. I mean, there are a fair number of characters in it. The only people that come to mind is Parangoski, and some of the Orion agents that appear here and there. Like one of them's in Empty Throne. A couple of them in like one of the older ones are in a Empty Throne. Like he's and with Terrence Hood is like 80 something. He probably doesn't know though. I feel like he wouldn't, right? Because it would come up, and also he wasn't like important at the beginning of the war because he was just a captain. Um, Back when James Cutter and his ship was lost, and he is partially responsible for not being able to recover them. Hmm, neato. So that joke about like Buck being old, like, is the fact that he became a Spartan when he was old, does that mean that his fighting days will be like reduced proportionally to his not quite as much remaining years? This would be really interesting. Like if you make this like super duper text and not not like just really strong subtext, it does significantly reframe a bunch of stuff in interesting ways. It's a character that was introduced and you could do stuff with in a story like this, but just didn't exist before. Lord Hood's wife, Lord like Preston Hood's wife, who is mentioned in an Empty Throne and part of his like, his psychology, and she's gone now, but like she would have existed at one point. So why do something with her? Yeah, do something. I wouldn't mind seeing like a young Doctor Halsey reacting to like in a story like this, like her POV of reacting to like the ongoing goings on in the galaxy, all these terrorists, all this like terrorism and all this rebellion. Because she would obviously develop an opinion on it. Part of her proposal on why the Spartan program is important was based on the fact that, yo, we kind of need this. It's kind of necessary. You know, these clips here might actually be useful suffering down the line. I could have sworn it's the case that the energy shields are just in the first game are not canon like in the gameplay, right? Like it's kind of a situation that's analogous to how um like in the Gears of War in the Gears of War lore, the chainsaw bayonet does not exist in lore until 1 year into the conflict with the Locusts, but there are not one but two games set in the first year, during the first year or at the end of the first year, where conspicuously they're using chainsaw bayonets because it's like a core mechanic of the franchise, and you couldn't like remove it. It just wouldn't play well. And so having Spartans and having them not have energy shields would be strange. So at least in a presentational level, um, mechanically they're just included as like a thing you can play with. And then in Halo Wars 2, they reverse engineer them or something. I forget. They're not in the cutscenes, to their credit. You never see the shields in the cutscenes. Well, this kind of class. I live in a spaceship. I want to. We could say in the same way that like black team, the black team of Spartans got like Mark 6 while some of their brethren were still running Mark 4. We could say that Oni gave red team provisional red and Omega team provisional like energy shields with some really like really superior tech. Maybe there's someone in the UNSC actually smarter than Halsey that we've just never heard of because they were so cool that they were kept super duper 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 secret. Yeah, write a whole novel about their rivalry even though it's never been mentioned again. That sounds like good world building. Yeah. Just, I will read your thing in a second. Just gonna click around. Just need to click around. Remember in Halo Wars 1, there was also the Rhinos, which are fuel rods as a flamer. That's weird. And there's also the Gremlin and the Sparrowhawk, which have lasers in Halo Wars 1. Is it possible that Halo Wars took a few liberties? Potentially. Is is it I because if the energy shields aren't canon, I wouldn't be surprised if other things aren't really canon either.
Go away, Arbiter. I'll deal with these beasts.
I don't think that clip's going to be used. And that clip is basically used already. That clip is definitely used already. What's this one? I did read the message about energy shields. Oh, wait. The shielding is semi-canon. A good information I've seen is that there's a big difference between prototype stage and production stage. Okay, I did miss that. Halo Wars having inconsistencies unheard of. Yo, Cutter went into that pod. He was in there for 30 years. He felt so refreshed. He looked fucking 25 years younger. He went from looking like 70 to looking like a cool 50. Damn. Like he went from looking like your grandpa to like the dad your female friend awkwardly like flirts with and makes you feel deeply uncomfortable.
By the gods, brace for impact!
I guess because they wanted him to look like the actor. I assume that must be it. I think the actor they got mocapping him. Was one has a special place to me because it's how much BS they had to deal with. Bungie hated them making something with their IP and didn't let them use any characters from the games. Bungie was not did not play nice with the expanded universe. That's for sure. So naturally they come up with their own, which ends up meaning that the games have their own cool identity, all of their own, which is pretty nice. I don't think I'm going to be using the Halo show clips anymore. I think these clips have definitely run their course. I feel like this one might still personal life, and it definitely don't want that. Wasn't Certain Affinity also they were the ones making the MMO, weren't they, until that got cancelled? There's a very different timeline that the Halo franchise goes down if the MMO got made, assuming that the MMO's like canon would have been binding, because the MMO clearly was like a pre-retcon like notion of what the Forerunners were. And whilst I don't love the idea that the Forerunners like core aesthetic is virtually identical to the modern UNSC, except with just like more bells and whistles, and that they were just fighting what is effectively not the Covenant, like the Covenant before the Covenant. Then beyond that, it would have maintained like the core premise of the Forerunners being ancient humans. It would have forced that to be canon, like definitive, because we would have seen it, because the excuse given as to why it was changed in the first place, because we never saw it. Oh, everything is canon, but not everything is true. What are you thinking of particular? I imagine there's going to be a bit of that in the with the remakes because they're gonna make changes. Some of them are gonna be like noticeable, you know, and you can't just sweep them under the rug.
To bite.
I feel like I might need this clip for later because I'm in sort of a new phase of the creative process. Gotta be honest, I have so much disappointment through for free that I'm not looking forward to the new era games. Maybe it will be good. Hope it does. Can't even see it. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I'm not as disappointed personally, of course, but I understand, objectively speaking, that by a standards of what I would want from like a continuation of a franchise, too many things are just changed for without good enough reason, both in direction and in style and in this and in that. In order for it to, like, it's the raw fact that you know how the quote goes, we hired people who hated Halo to get to make Halo because they'd have a perspective outside of like Halo. And ironically they make it more generic by having it be a Call of Duty clone. Um, I like um, Halo 4's combat, but it is a little less Halo-y. Arguably, they are just continuing what started out with Reach, because Reach was kind of going in that direction to begin with. But that doesn't really give them an excuse, you know. But hey, I'm a lore fan, and 343, you know, may they don't make they're really fucking slow with the games, but oh boy, there's so much lore stuff. There's so much lore stuff. From the jaws of victory. I was looking forward to the Infinite DLC campaign, but it was not gonna have Mendica bias in it, and it was got a whole thing of Chief being sent 3 days into the future. I, from what I understand about that particular instance, that's like nothing on the developers, at least. Um, like that, like the amount of technical debt they had wound up and the amount of effort it had taken to push Halo Infinite out the door because of that. Um, and then like immediately after because of like a series of, like because of corporate restructuring, a series of layoffs happens that means that the entire campaign team is just gone. They're not there anymore, which is also the reason why the game didn't reach seasonality until like a fucking year, almost a fucking year. Like it didn't get a second season until I didn't get seasonality for a year, right? That's the thing that
Done.
happened. I'm remembering that correctly. corporate leadership, you know, it's all it's their fault, of course. But I feel like there's this attitude that like, oh, the people making like fan games can like do better with less resources, which is, you know, true. They are achieving more in a way, but it's also because they don't have like 17,000 layers of ridiculous bureaucratic Microsoft red tape, and the on high decisions from people who just decide, you're not working on this anymore, leave. True. Yeah, they hired temporary workers to work on a proprietary engine, which means temporary workers had to be taught how to work a proprietary engine. Like, which means you have to spend money on teaching them anyway, which is the stuff that you were which, even though the people you could just teach people this stuff and keep them on, and it would save time. But no, people, these fuckers don't think, don't think far enough ahead. That despite the fact that all the math should tell them to be long-term thinkers, um, infinite quarterly growth requires that it requires that you just forgo set sensible expectations for what the future can be. I'm muddling my words a little bit because I'm kind of multitasking, but I'm reasonably certain what I'm saying is more or less coherent. I'm surprised I didn't use this shot. Actually, thinking about it, there's a thing I was thinking about doing with this shot, with this one, to do a little intro. Ironic thing is that you can't even say Bungie should have stayed because they fucked up too. They've become a shadow of their former self. Okay, it's like two roads, me. which which way, Halo fan? Which way? I should say. Apparently, Sony is going to continue to support Marathon because it has like it has like a small but dedicated player base. Fucking Marathon, the game that like that people like fucking go that was like not successful from day one, was Halo Infinite. Had like people on day one. People liked the game, but people liked the multiplayer. People liked the stuff in it. It just didn't have enough content. And yet it's Marathon that gets the consistent support. Fucking crazy, man. Fucking crazy. I hear Daisy. I hear Destiny is like weirdly, like obtusely difficult to get into. I have an idea. I have an idea.
There is a danger in secrets, both in seeking and in knowing. both in seeking and in knowing. Some secrets should.
Oh wait, it's on the wrong audio layer. Can't really hear it. There we go.
Some secrets seeking and in knowing. Some secrets should remain untouched.
By order of the Human Council, proximity to installation 04.
Seeking and in knowing. Some
Huh? Hmm.
in knowing. Some secret.
I hate what to the Forerunners because it was pretty clear the human descendants the Bungie era not only did B43 change this to make species, they recently made it the Forerunners and ancient humans shared the same so we're right back to square one. Yep. Yep. I think it was I think the first piece of media to like do that was a Point of Light. It might have been, um, but yeah, like I mean, the second change is just trying to make the awkward retcons of the first change less fucked. Try to make the implications of like us being the same less like fucky because that's obviously the implication for like for literally the first 10 years of the franchise. And the change made it was. I say this as someone who likes the Forerunner trilogy of books and thinks those books are pretty decent, are pretty good. I quite like them. I think yeah, they're good content. You made something. They made something simple. They took something simple and they made it needlessly complicated for no good reason. That's the truth of it.
Some secrets should remain untouched.
By order of the Human Council.
Should remain untouched.
By order of the Human Council, proximity to installation 04 is forbidden. Order of the Human Council, proximity to installation.
Touched.
By order of the Human Council, proximity to installation 04 is forbidden. Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
100,000 years ago.
Hmm. Take, but it's not an issue I would die on a hill for. Come on, just make your mind up. It happens with like big changes like that in canon. You know, you make a big swing during a point where you like the retcon as it exists, as in the free for free era. It just about gets away with it in terms of reformatting and readjusting our perception of how it was all meant to fit together. In terms of like the raw canon, intentions be damned. But later, the recognition that the original intention was just kind of better and simpler and had greater thematic relevance leads to people trying to revert it without reverting the stuff that we just got. And so you've got a situation where you can't really fix it. You're not really. You know, if they made a wholesale proper adaptation, good adaptation of Halo to screen, I would personally advocate, even if they went so far as to adapt they got as far as to adapt Halo 4's plot that they do not include that retcon in that TV universe. It would be a bit. It wouldn't be good for brand synergy, but it would be better in that context. Also, you are a good editor. I can't my read over. It took me a while to learn it. It's a little bit. It's kind of a lot. Not gonna lie.
And knowing. Some secrets should remain untouched. Some secrets should remain untouched.
By order of Everything Council, proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden.
Just doing little creative things here and there.
Should remain untouched.
By order of Everything Council, proximity. By order of Everything Council, proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Your proximity to Installation 04 is Council, proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Council, proximity to Installation 0. Proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Your is forbidden. Your continued presence will 04 is forbidden. Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I is forbidden. Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
100,000 years ago.
Sometimes I will use something I will use in a video one day is how when the flood eat enough food they start throwing around solar systems slash Zen auto autobahn autobahns autobahns. I don't quite comprehend, but I am I am familiar with the whole bending of space time aspect. Also, Spark really sucks. It's the terminals. It shows he was targeting the Pillar of Autumn, but stopped when he realized they were human. He then chose not to shoot the Covenant ships attacking said humans. That is that is weird. That is very weird. I guess I guess you can sort of. Yeah, no matter how you slice it, it's not great. He would have to be he'd have to like not care too much about it until they land. That would about either of them. That would logically make sense. Like he would have to be unaware or unable to shoot them down in short notice. Ah, oh yeah, the Star Roads. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, there is no excuse. Is that like in the cross sections book? Them having anti-ship guns? I don't remember that. It sounds like a totally plausible lore element. I just don't remember that.
Everything Council, proximity to installation 04 is forbidden. Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
100,000 years ago, a great civilization existed in this universe.
I didn't replace that clip, did I? Well, I gotta do it now.
Sacrificing themselves eternally.
Engineering has at least 97 confidence class weapons arrays, which must be crazy, as Spark said they need to stay at least 1 light year away or he will fire. Yeah. Has returned, and so have I. Finally, I troll back under the bridge of a stream. This bridge of a stream. I see what you did there. Rings also have 500-meter long sentinels. True, true, true. Hunters, true. You know, why didn't they put a massive fuck off sentinel in the Fireteam Raven game? That's what I'm wondering. Would have been a good addition. Wouldn't be the worst addition for the Halo remake. There was infinitely worse things they could do, you know? Like, hey, there are big sentinels in lore. The last few games, the last few levels are a bit repetitive, and the sentinels are out there. What if we had big sentinel? Just big sentinel. It's not terribly complex. We need big sentinel. We need little mini boss. Like when you're getting in a banshee to go to the various areas to shut down the shield generators. I think they're shield generators. Shut down, not the shield generators. When you're shutting down the various pylons that will permit free guilty spark to potentially find a way around not having the key, like a delaying time effectively. Um, you, they could. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. They could have a massive fuck off sentinel flying around, fucking over, like bombing Covenant and bombing you because you're there.
A great civilization existed in a A great civilization existed in a great civilization. years ago, a great civilization existed in this universe.
It seemed cleaner to me.
100,000 years ago, a great civilization existed in this universe.
This has served as your one and final warning.
Like all great civilizations,
Seems weird to get keys and calls mixed up to me, but to each their own. The scale and the wings I still feel are so out of whack, the same as Death Star. Do you mean the rings? Where I don't feel the size is strictly necessary from a world building POV, just makes things scale more epic. I think in the case of the rings, it's fairly justified. Like it feels kind of intuitive that a pulse that destroys all sufficiently complex life in a 25,000 light year radius, and you tell me, oh, the device required to do this is a massive fuck off ring that is 10,000 miles, 10,000 kilometers in diameter. I believe you. I find that acceptable. that's that that's a real that's infinite. That's like immensely larger than what the Death Star is doing anyway. Um, and the fact that it connects with several other rings to like cover the whole galaxy, that's like, oh fuck. Yeah, and the Greater Arc made ones that were 30,000 um, kilometers in diameter, and the only one of those rings that survives is Installation 07, which is the setting of Halo Infinite, which is part of the reason why it's said to be like super duper special and has different stuff going on. But we've only had hints of it so far, because Halo Infinite is very much about we are resolving the Cortana thing. We are setting up the new villain, and we are giving you mystery, mystery, mystery. That's what we're giving you, mystery. And but the actual ring, it's like reduced in size to 10k. Hey, you want to see my mouse? Hey, I want you to review my mouse rest. This guy. This guy's my mouse rest. I can put my wrist on it. It's good. Makes a little sound. This guy. Yeah. Overused? Overused. All right. Overused. I mean, they're in, they're in, they're in two games. They're set up in one game, and then like capitalize as like the main villain of the next one. It's just the 343 thing of we made Halo 4, and we're going to abandon the things that worked about Halo 4 because people didn't like all the things that didn't work about Halo 4 because we changed it too much. So we're going to try and pivot whilst also keeping it the same, which will ironically mean that we lose all the actually effective and the effective character work stuff and the more intimate storytelling from 4 in favor of this, that, and a more like plot-based, bombastic story about like the end of the fucking universe. We get back to that, but also we just introduce a whole bunch of other problems like Halo 5's cast having like fucking 20 main characters, and the fact that John is not in most of the game. and the fact that, oh yeah, we brought Cortana back and she's like Space Hitler now. Everybody loved that. You could have brought her back in other ways. You eventually brought her back the way you were supposed to, with Jen Taylor as the voice and everything. But yeah, and nobody liked that either. So that sort of the die deck got swept under the rug. The created are addressed, but they do effectively get swept under the rug. Um, the in between 5 and Infinite, there's a spin-off game that people liked that villain. People thought they were okay. Let's make them the whole thing. The whole thing. Oh, bad bad mouse rest. Washed scare actor. What does fuck does my boy have to do with me being a scare actor? He's just, I've had him since I was a wee lad, and I got him out of a little cupboard one day and just thought, yeah, it kind of fits, comfy. It's an easy fix. Halo 4 and onwards. It's just happening in the mind of Cortana as she slowly goes insane and the Ford unto Dawn. You know how I feel about that. I like Halo 4 too much to let it go, man. Uh, See ya. I'm probably almost done myself. Okay. Is there something else I can do here?
Should remain untouched.
Huh? What was that?
Some secrets should remain untouched.
What the fuck? Oh, I understand.
Some secrets should remain untouched. Some secrets Some secrets should remain. Some secrets should remain untouched.
Hmm.
Proximity to Installation 04 is forbidden. Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
100,000 years ago, a great civilization.
There's a piece of imagery to put here.
Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately.
Hmm. I'll think of something. Hmm. Was Defo eating digital popcorn as he sexually Covenant destroyed the Pillar of Autumn? Hey, at least Cortana took down the little fighters, the little some of the little ships they sent after them. She's like, yo, I got 6 kills. I did it, yay! Didn't matter.
Visited by an emissary of the gods.
Something they never.
Your continued presence will result in most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and
You know what I need? I know what this needs. I know what this needs. Where are the terminals?
between a flock
And the thing Terry
Very particular shot I'm looking for.
Step one.
the
There we go. We're gonna underline the point you were making, just about how
Vladimir must be dead.
they might actually address that of why fucking 343 would have let that happen, because they're making, they've got the new tie-in novel to the remake about Marvin Mabupo. Something which I think may be a law inconsistency. Oh wow, law inconsistency! What a concept. Is as well as the Pill of Autumn should have had a Nova Bomb, considering it was what to be used in Red Flag. Should they fail to capture? The next. That's true. Are you familiar with the fan novella called Just Red Flag, where it's actually it's available as like an audiobook on YouTube. Like you could just put it up. A guy wrote like, hey, what if in an alternate timeline Red Flag happened with all the context we have from like Halo Reach as well, and it's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And the Nova Bomb does in fact come up. They fucking it basically diverts from the point that they capture the not, instead of like when they get onto the long night of solace, instead of blowing the thing up with like a slip space like portal, they just capture it straight up. Like blue team, all of the Spartans get onto it and start just killing thousands of Covenant to get it. And then they go to high charity and they kidnap some prophets.
duty can indeed be a dangerous virtue, but snub
It's pretty good. Just look up Halo Red Flag. It should be like one of the first things you find. It's like it's quite rewarding as a Halo fan to like see the alternate perspective, the alternate history idea. It feels like the ultimate what if in a way, because like that is the premise of the first book, but the ending in the first book. But of course, like the games never really address it, except referencing it once in Halo Infinite. And of course, there's the meme of like, this will be useful for Red Flag.
measures.
Yes, that's exactly the one I'm talking about.
I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
just realized humanity was attacked twice by the gods at that time. Favored them, attacked. I don't quite understand. Could you explain?
Resulted most unpleasant countermeasures. I must insist that you immediately change course and return to a minimum safe distance of 1 light year.
100,000 years ago, a great civilization existed in this universe.
This has served as your one and final warning.
Like all great civilizations,
Making little adjustments, chatting a little bit, cooling down after stuff. With the Covenant, it was the fact that humanity were connected to the Forerunners, and with the Forerunners, it was that the Precursors gave them the mantle to humanity. Although I'm aware that the Precursor thing has been changed multiple times. The Precursor thing also had an intentional, unreliable narrator aspect where it was drawn attention to that depending on who told the story of how the conflict between the Precursors and the Forerunners went, it seemed to be different. Like the POV of what is ostensibly claims to be a precursor versus the POV of someone who knows it from the Forerunner perspective. They don't align. And neither of them are unbiased. Which of course means that there's room in the future for them to change it again. I'm sure they've narrowly changed it in little ways since. You know, it's a real question. If the humans and the Forerunners have a common ancestor, and you can kind of visually see that because they're both like upright, whatnot, does that mean the fucking Yon Het from Halo Nightfall and a few sparse appearances in other places, does that mean the fucking Yon Het are like are they also in that like family? Are they low key like potential mantle holders? That's what I want to know. Anyway, uh, I will be streaming tomorrow. I think that's it for today. Just doing little things, little adjustments, little changes as they're needed. Yeah, yeah, a little bit of organizing clips. Yeah, yeah, I guess they were plausible. Yeah, but that's gonna be it. Thank you for coming. Thank you if you're skipping through the VOD. Okay, thanks. That's I don't get it. But yes. And the Forerunners messed with their biology a lot. So, see ya. Yep. Have a nice night. Gonna be here tomorrow though.